Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth, and in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about settling for less, but still hoping that they'll finally care. So what do I mean by this? I see a lot of people settle for less than what they're wanting or hoping for in a relationship, and they tolerate a lot because they really care about that person, and they're hoping that at some point that person really starts to care about them too. But we can't ignore our feelings. I know sometimes we have to give people some space and some room and not overwhelm them, but when you completely neglect yourself and abandon all your needs, you're really not having a fulfilling relationship, and you're not going to. I think that sometimes people are afraid to stand up for themselves because they're afraid that person might leave. And maybe that is true because they might leave. But at the same time, if they're not really giving or investing in the relationship, they're probably going to walk away and leave anyway, right? Because what's really holding them there if they're not investing in the relationship? So I got a really good email coaching, and this one's kind of interesting because when I first started to read it, I'm like, oh boy, I thought that she was going to be responsible for this relationship falling apart. But then as I started reading more and more, I'm like, hold on, this is getting worse and worse. This guy sounds terrible. Well, you be the judge for yourself, okay? She says, hi there. Sadly, I have insight into where I lost emotional regulation. I have attached images for reference as I'm unclear of my boyfriend's response. I'm wondering if this is a breakup, how I approach this moving forward, particularly with his current grief. My boyfriend has complex trauma. His parents were heroin addicts. He was physically abused as a child, and he experienced homelessness. He has a strained family relationship. Okay, so you could see that this guy that she was dating has a lot of trauma. He's been through a lot. Parents were heroin addicts. You could imagine the amount of neglect that he felt there. Who knows how bad the abuse was? She said it was physical. He was homeless for a while. I can't even speculate, but it sounds extremely rough. She says that in October of 2025, his mother suicided. All right, so that's horrible as well. And I'm sure on some level he feels some guilt or blames himself. Maybe he thinks he could have done enough. This is very unfortunate. And as you could see so far, I was thinking, oh boy, she lost a lot of emotional self-control here. And that's probably why this led to a breakup, because he's been through so much and maybe he can't handle too much. Which there probably is some truth to, but let's go on. You'll see what I mean. Then she says, I have done everything to be there for him. During the month his mother passed, it was my birthday and my final year completing my master's in social work. At this time, he called me another girl's name. The name of a girl who spread a rumor at his work that he likes her. Okay, so this is big, okay? Not only does he call her another girl's name, but it just happens to be a girl that spread a rumor that he likes her. So now it's sounding really suspicious. Now it's sounding like he did like this other woman, and the other woman knew it, and she went and told everybody. That would be my guess. We don't know for sure, but that's what it seems like to me. I was devastated, but processed this quickly to be there for him. Because of Mom. I dropped everything to go back to him, despite me questioning his loyalty, and I've been there ever since, answering every call, text, and every time he wanted to hang out. And she goes there to be with him, and to be loyal to him, and be there for every call or text or anything he needs. About a week ago, I requested a break to avoid an argument and process my feelings. During a phone call with him, we're going to call him Newman, by the way. During a phone call with Newman, after my mother had just been in the hospital, on top of that, I was dealing with my own medical emergency related to sudden hearing loss. That would be scary, right? Could you imagine? All while being in a position where I'm trying to find graduate roles and facing financial insecurity with no job stability. Talk about a tremendous amount of stress. She has a sudden loss of hearing. Her mom has a medical issue where mom's in the hospital. She's stressed about job security and job stability and trying to find a graduate role. So not only that, what he's going through with mom. So that is a lot for someone to go through. All right, let's go on. Newman started reminiscing about a conversation he had with his female colleague. It seemed insensitive, especially if it's that same woman that accused him of liking her. I was confused. Why was he thinking of a conversation with another girl while being on the phone with me? Yeah, it would seem like an escape, like he's fantasizing about this other woman, and he's doing it so intensely that he's not even paying attention to who he's saying it to. Like he wants to get your insight in some bizarre way of like, do you think she likes me? That's almost what it feels like to me. He then continued to tell me the girl whose name he called me in October had messaged asking if he wanted to go out with her. That was my tipping point. Boy, who wouldn't get upset about this? I think everybody at this point would be like, wait, hang on, this is not right. Newman is always in control of our relationship. We've been together over 3 years. Recently, we started discussing moving in together. He's a manager, and I'm a recent graduate with 2 part-time jobs. We're both in our mid-30s. I worked across the road from him and would go into the store he worked at on my break. I live with my family. He lives alone. Are you ready for the bombshell? We're going to have 2 bombshells. 2 bombshells in the last sentence. I wish he had put this at the front of this to give you guys better perspective. But listen to these 2 bombshells in the last sentence. In the 3.5 years we've been dating, he hasn't invited me to his house or said, I love you. Talk about a bomb at the very end, right? Like, wow. Guys, when you do your email coachings with me, please think it through story-wise for me. Like, understand that I don't know who you are or who you were dating or anything about the story. So it's helpful to give me that information up front, right? That, the ages and how you met and all those things. I ask you to do that right up at front. You could see here at the end, when you throw those things in there, it's like, whoa, hang on. You haven't been to his house in 3 years? That's really suspicious. He lives alone. He doesn't have roommates. He's never wanted alone time with you at his place. You live with your family. You don't live by yourself. That doesn't make sense, does it, guys? All right? Why would a guy not want his girlfriend to come over all the time? He wants to go over to her house where her family is. How are you going to be intimate over there? It would be a lot more challenging to deal with that than just have you come over. And it makes no sense. It's very suspicious. Not only that, this guy's never told you he loved you in 3.5 years. He's calling you another woman's name. He's talking about other women on the phone to you. I feel like you're tolerating all this and ignoring it because you're hoping that he finally starts to care about you and starts to treat you better. But I think because you've let him slip worse and worse here, it just teaches him that he can treat you terribly and you're going to tolerate it. Now, I do have some text messages here, and I'm just going to give you the basics of it because I didn't ask her if I could say these text messages, so I'm just going to leave it vague. Basically, she's wondering why he's ghosting her. And he's like, I'm not. You asked for a break after getting angry and kind of blowing up my phone. And then he says, I don't feel like talking. And he's like, or she says, well, don't you understand that you hurt me? That's why I'm asking for this, because of what you've done. And then she's like, does this mean you don't want to talk to me anymore? And he's like, yeah, I understand that. But then he made it about himself and the stuff he had been going through. And he's like, this is pretty cold. He's like, well, I'll basically message you when I feel like it. And then she tries to explain, and she sends 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 messages. And this is where I think she's talking about losing the emotional self-control. She's basically saying, I'm upset because of the way you talk to me. You talk to other women. I feel unwanted, like you don't desire me. That you're ashamed of me because I've never met your friends and family. And she's like basically saying everybody has a limit. And when I try and talk to you about this stuff, you give me the silent treatment and don't take any accountability. And, you know, she kind of loses a little bit more emotional self-control. I'm not going to get into the specifics. Nothing too bad. But just a little dramatic. But look, I think she has every right in the world to be angry here. I mean, guys, let's take a look at this information we've got here. 3.5 years together. He's never said he loved her, never had her over to his place, has never met his friends and family. Then he's calling her another woman's name, and this woman is going around telling people at work that he likes her. Probably because he likes her. That's my guess. I think you're tolerating a lot of really terrible behavior, honestly. And you need to love yourself here and think about what you're looking for. If you just stay stuck in this like challenge, like, oh, it's the challenge of trying to get this guy. But it's like, what are you really getting? What makes you think he would be a good partner after he's been treating you so poorly for so long? I think you need to take a look at how your parents treated you and see if there's any similarities, because we're often drawn to the familiar. And that's what the Creative Healing course and the workbooks are helping you break that cycle, so you can become more aware of why you're attracted to certain things and focus on things that are healthier for you. Because I just don't see what you're going to get out of this relationship. I mean, if you can even call it that. I mean, I'm not sure how often you were seeing each other, but you were doing everything to be there for him. And when he was struggling, you were doing everything there for him. But, you know, this is 3 years. He hasn't even invited you to his place. That's crazy to me. Not even said come over and hang out. I don't know. I mean, it's so extreme. It wouldn't surprise me if there were other women in the picture. I mean, there could be. How would you even be surprised? He doesn't invite you over. I've seen crazy stuff like that. I don't know if that's necessarily going on here, but I do think he's more interested in this other woman, and I don't think he's that interested in you. And don't take that as a reflection of who you are or your self-worth. You have to respect and value yourself and love yourself, because if you don't, people aren't going to respect and value you either. Think about that. If you tolerate being mistreated, people lose respect for you. And if they lose respect for you, they're not going to love you. So you have to love and respect yourself. I think you deserve a lot better than this. And I think the people in the comment section are going to agree with that. Hopefully this one's been helpful to you. If you'd like to get my help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. You can also get my Creative Healing course and my workbooks only on my website. That's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth. and I will talk with you soon.